Your boy's gotta fucking work at 5 a.m. tomorrow.
Um, that sucks. Oh, streams live and recording goes live in three, two, one. Let's jam. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Welcome to LOLA Podcast, episode 355, 335. There it is, 335. It's me, your host, Wise Papa Smurf, and with me this week is Stove again, my consummate co-host. I can't get anybody else. I'm sorry, guys. It's just Stove is here.
You just have to live with me. Just the two of us.
We can
We
make
can
it
make it
if we.
if we try. Just the two of us. You
You
and
and I.
I.
Nice. So, Stove, now that you have us demonetized from YouTube with that shockingly accurate rendition, computers will not be able to tell the difference.
Not at all.
We're gonna get a copyright claim immediately because they're like, "Damn, it's too close." So, how you doing, man?
You know what? After this entire week, if which we will touch on later, I'm feeling pretty good right now.
I feel oddly good right now too, and I can't really put my so like okay. Let's just start off here. Podcast fans, as you remember from last season when I played like a bajillion games of Poppy, um, we got tagged again with a big one-time donation, over $100, and they requested that we play top lane Darius, and that's our boy RCC in the Discord channel popped in and made that donation and said, "Hey, I would like you to play top lane Darius." I'm like, "Well, okay." Normally I would just play whatever and probably play it support, but he specifically asked for top lane Darius. And by the way, I could have played Darius as support. Totally could have
Oh,
done that.
easily.
Totally could have done that.
It would have. It probably would have turned out better.
Oh, definitely would have turned out better than what happened. But so he's like, "Hey, I want you to play Darius. I want you to play top lane, and get a W." And I told him, "You know what? That's cool. I haven't done my placements yet. Let me go ahead and knock those out, and then I'll do that." But then I got like 2 games into my placement. I'm like, "You know what? Fuck this. Like, he paid the money. I'm just gonna step up." I was like, worst case scenario, I lose a few. Not a big deal. I've
A
got
few.
I got time. Yeah, I got time to fucking bounce back, even if it goes kind of sideways. We'll figure it out. It's not a big thing. So I was like, all right, cool. So I start playing Darius, and by the way, his request was that I told him I can't do 40 games anymore. That is just too much. And I mean, really, it is just too much. Like, way the hell too much.
Put in perspective, I played only 60 ranked games last year.
Did you really?
Combined. Yes.
It's like nothing.
Yeah. I just played, got to plat, and I was like, I'm good.
Mm. So I was like, all right, well, and then he said, here's what I want to do though. I said, well, do you want me to play those games, or do you want Stove to play those games? Because Stove's in too, because he asked, and I'm like, all right. And he says, actually, I want you guys to split the games. You do 10 and he does 10. And I thought, you know what? That is a really interesting way to do it because you get like 2 different perspectives. It gives us both something to talk about on the show, you know, and it's like, I'm curious to see because now we've got like content from 2 different angles. Because I mean, Stove is a top laner, like he plays that.
I play top lane a lot more than a lot of other people.
And I am a support main, and that's the only thing I've ever really played. I mean, I've dicked around a little bit with some of the other lanes, but I've never really like put solid focus and effort into it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, let's see, let's see how this goes. And like my initial thoughts are, I'm gonna get fucking massacred, right? I already knew this. I was like, but I'm in my placements. So like the first game I played on my placements, it's like You've been placed silver 1. And I'm like, okay, whatever. That's not going to stay. We'll be fine. This is the first season that I went 0-10 in my placements, by the way. 0-10. Like, didn't win a game of my fucking placements at all. I have had seasons where I went 1-9. And for all of you long-term listeners, you know that my placements are always a fucking joke. Right? Like, it is, no matter what season it is, those are the 10 worst games I will ever play. Right? For whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
And so this time I kind of just leaned into it. I'm like, time to do the Darius Top Challenge. We'll see how that goes. Stove, had you already done yours?
Yes.
You
All 10 have been done.
No. Have you done your placements whenever you
Oh yeah.
started the challenge?
Yeah. Oh no, I did one placement before the challenge. Now, did I do all my placements as Darius? No, because one game I was forced mid. I asked for top, didn't happen. And one game Darius was banned. So the 2 wins I had out of my placements were the games I didn't play Darius.
Okay. So, of the Darius challenge, the overlap with your placements was just one game, or how many?
There were 7. 7 of my placements
Okay.
were Darius.
Gotcha. Okay. So the answer is predominantly yes, because
Yes.
eight of mine were Darius, right? Which,
Yes.
for all of you who are paying attention, I went 0-10 in my placements. So if I lost 2 and then 8 were Darius, yikes, right? Okay. So that being said, any of you that watched me suffer through this fucking nightmare will notice that, like, it was rough, and I didn't, like, I felt like I was failing twice over, right? Like, it wasn't necessarily Darius, though I do want to talk about Darius and his place in the meta for sure.
Yes.
But I didn't think it was necessarily Darius that was causing me to fail, or like opportunity recognition that was causing me to fail. A lot of it was execution, right? Like, I found out ways I could have done my combos way better. I started watching videos on how to play Darius while I was between games. For all of you who watched the thing, you could hear that going on in the background where I'm trying to learn, as I'm playing through. But, like, I felt like I was failing both as a Darius player, even though Darius is not inherently complex. And,
No.
like, I watched a 30-minute video about Darius combos, which are all bullshit. I could have done that in, like,
It's
3 minutes.
it's the same combination of
Yeah, it's the
like
same shit.
auto W auto. That's 90% of his
Yeah,
combos.
that is. It's
auto cancel.
here. E to pull them. During the
Auto.
E, auto, right? So you'll E, and then as you reach out, attack, he'll hit him with an auto attack, then W immediately, then auto attack again, and then hit Q.
That's the biggest
That's the
bread
combo.
and butter he has.
That's the combo. There are others that are like, you can ensure you get a heal by hitting EQ real fast, like, because they get pulled and then they bounce out, and then your Q will go off during that animation, and it will always hit blade.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other is you can click somebody with your ult and then flash onto them, and it will go off instantly. Or you can ult somebody and flash away, and it will still go off.
Okay, I didn't know that one.
Yep, that's the 3-minute combos that I watched a 30-minute video to tell me about. Oh, this one too. If you get 5 stacks on somebody, you charge a Q, and then you flash onto the entire enemy team, putting as many stacks on as many people as you can.
Okay, yeah,
That's never relevant, because it never fucking happens that way, because you've already burned flash to make the engage in the first place to get 5 stacks on somebody, because nobody sees a Darius running at them and they're like, this will be fine. Yeah, like nobody does that.
No,
Like,
nope.
oh, the guy with the big fucking guillotine axe? Yeah, let's hand to hand fisticuffs this motherfucker.
The
You're like,
man with the permanent scowl on his face? No, he's a great man.
yeah, he's cool. Don't worry about him. That's the like. What are those memes? It's like the guy your girlfriend told you not to worry about. That's like
Yeah.
Darius as a champion, right? So like, anyway, these are the like air quotes mechanical combos with Darius. There's really not. It's just about threading auto attacks and then canceling them with your W, because your W is an auto attack reset.
Yes.
And then one thing I will say that was interesting, your passive reads that any damage that you do with Darius puts a stack on the passive on them. That's
Except
not true.
except the inner Q. The inner
Ah,
Q and the pull.
and also item activations don't.
Yeah.
So like, which I thought was kind of because like the whip spike chain thing,
That'd be I mean that would be
that would be busted. But
it wouldn't
per the reading of it, it should, because it says like any physical damage or ability damage causes this. You know, and I'm like, well, the whip spike chain is physical damage.
but that's probably coded as item damage, not damage
Yeah,
from
but I
Darius.
mean, that's what I'm saying though. But like in the reading, it should work, but it doesn't. But that's fine, whatever. If you were able to stack 5 stacks that fast, you'd be ungodly strong. But actually, you wouldn't because of the limitations of the
It's
character. So let's talk about that a little
okay.
bit.
All right.
So I went over mechanical combos, and I'm gonna give Stove the floor here. But what I really want to talk about is like I've had some games to experience Darius. I mean, it's not. This isn't the first time I've ever played Darius, right?
Mhm.
But it is the first time I've ever played Darius seriously, and like been forced to evaluate what the fuck I'm doing and how I am like everything that I'm doing, my, you know, how to get better at the champion, all that crap because my rank depended on it. Um, and so I have a lot of thoughts as to like Darius, like so the context of the conversation, Stove, is Darius, things that he's good at, limitations, and his place in the meta. So
Okay.
hit it.
So this honestly, this challenge has like it definitely opened up as a understand that I would say the biggest thing I took out of this is how much or how little impact top lane has on the overall game. There were games where I was fully ahead, took advantage of what I could, and game went away. There are games where I didn't play Darius to his full extent, to what I could and what he is good at, and I just turned into a keep everyone off the carries bot. What I feel Darius is very much he has one thing he is very very good at, and if you cannot execute on that, you very much can't. You pretty much failed the champion.
So I do want to talk about that is different at every phase of the game, which is where I got tripped up really bad with Darius. Like early game, you are this like super strong level 1, level 2, level 3 champion. Right? Like I don't know of anybody who beats Darius in those levels that's not like Action or something that
If
you just
if
can't.
you if you stack your passive at level 1 to 5 stacks and you get your AD, that is a minimum 900 gold efficiency from your passive alone of AD.
hmm So I mean, Darius, if you brawl with anybody or you all in with anybody at those early levels and you are successful in forcing a fight, odds are you're gonna win that fight, right? Like I'd say that's pretty good chance. Okay. Um, that being said, like I was playing him in mid-game team fights and shit, like he was a Lowy. right? Like I was imagining going in, or like Warwick, right? Like I was imagining I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna beat the shit out of everybody, take a bunch of damage, and then like swing in a circle and fill my whole health bar up, and then do it again because everybody's all beaten up.
That's a different champion.
Yeah, that's not Darius. I found out.
That's Aatrox.
I found that out by hard failure that I was wrong about that, and it's not Darius that does that. So like instead, what Darius does is you find one guy and you stack your passive fully on that one poor son of a bitch who's not going to be able to get away from you. Then, once you kill him, because he will die, once 5 stacks, you're done, right? Once you
Yes.
kill that son of a bitch, then you get into everybody else and just start laying waste. You know, it's not, you don't drain tank a team. You spread passive stacks once you get them. Like, that's your primary objective. And if you can tomahawk chop a few dudes here and there, like, get your resets. That's
feels
cool.
good. It feels real
But
good.
it's rare that you're gonna get in a situation because remember the resets, like the ult, only resets on kill.
Yes.
So you can't. It's not even. Actually, I'll tell you this. They could make Darius. Well, we'll talk about that later because I want to talk about where is his place in the meta, and what do we think he needs, buff, nerf, or what's a quality of life change that could help him.
Yes.
Right? I've already got a couple of ideas on that. Well, I'll just throw it out right now because we've kind of talked about like how you have to transition from lane bully to team fighting, and it's not the way that seems obvious, right?
His team fighting is very dependent on a good flank or good positioning to essentially either grab or start stacking.
Or ghost.
Or TP ghost and then just run.
See, I was running flash ghost and I think I liked it better.
I did flash ghost, ignite flash. I did all of it. I'm just like, you know what? I am just tired of not being able to be there because I know damn well every top laner I face, most of them, had TP. So it's they're joining a fight, I'm not. Like Flash could have helped if I went TP Flash, but Ghost feels so much better on Darius because you have to stay on them.
Mm-hmm.
Flash is a instant on them. Ghost is a I'm staying on them.
See, like I liked both because there were lanes like Action where even if I got him, I didn't get him. Right? Like yes. I pulled you and I'm gonna hit you with all my shit, and then you're gonna swing out on a fucking vine and I'm never gonna catch you again. You know. And so it sucked. But like having flash pull and then he swings out and then I ghost right at his face and rip his head off. All right. You know, or like I ghost and he tries to swing out and I flash pull him from his stupid ass vine and rip his head off. That felt great, right? But anyway, quality of life changes that like okay, let's start here. Where do you think Darius fits in the meta?
He is a mid-tier because if you can execute what he does well, you can storm roll a game. Like you become near unstoppable, but you have to take advantage of what he's very good at, which is being a lane bully. But it's also you also have to play top lane well, which is another thing that's completely different.
Yeah. So, like looking at op.gg, I'm actually surprised how high he is on the list of top laners right now. He is ranked 6 on top laners, with there being 59 potential options there. Right?
It's so people who play Darius like a lot of them don't just one trick or don't just like pick him up as a nothing. You do that with Set, you do that with Aatrox, you do that with any tank, Malphite, Ornn, whatever. Darius is like, I like how this character plays, and I'm going to stay playing this character.
Yeah. And I mean, I do actually feel that way. Like, I think Darius is super fun. Um, but yeah, that does surprise me because I didn't expect him to be so high up on the list.
He's always been a higher pick slash higher on the win rate. Always. He is the what I feel is the quintessential top laner. Like you are in that lane. Period.
Mm.
Like you're not a team fighter. And you're not really a split pusher, but he's very good at getting ahead in lane and then staying on the throat of the enemy.
Yeah.
Because the
Yeah.
games I was doing well in lane, I'm standing at my enemy's casters, and the enemy cannot step up. Because guess what? They step up, I start stacking, boom, I get thousands of gold, like 1,000 gold worth of AD just because you stepped up.
Right. So, in terms of like where he fits in the meta, I think Darius is actually like okay.
Yeah,
He's strong at various things, and he like I said, the damage is nuts. Like he's strong at those things. Even when behind, he still has good damage. It's that the problems with Darius is that he takes a lot of like you have to supplement mobility to do anything.
yes,
And so that's tough, but that's supposed to be the bruiser's, you know,
supposed to be.
it's supposed to be your Achilles heel, right? The other thing that I think is difficult with Darius is like you have to build at least 2 items of offense and then pretty much defense. And those items are not cheap. Like, so you'll have to
To
do your mythic and like Sterix.
Yeah, mythic Sterix, and then your defensive item, unless it's something that like if they're running like 3 AP, yeah, you could supplement a Spirit Visage
Yeah,
as
you
a
can do a
second
spirit
item.
message, yeah.
Or if they're running a whole AD comp, you could just supplement a Dead Man's or a Thornmail second,
Hmm.
and it's still gonna work.
Yeah, I mean, you're still like you're alive, and Dead Man's in particular helps you close that gap because remember, movement is one of his biggest problems.
Yes,
So,
I was honestly surprised he could basically build any bruiser item. Like it was actually shocking. I'm like, oh, I'm probably gonna build, was it Stride Breaker or Gore Drinker? No, he could do Trinity Force a lot. Apparently Trinity Force is really good. I haven't seen that in a while.
I
But
played it a couple of games. I didn't really. I mean, it does a lot of damage on like the W,
yes,
right? Because you'll hit and then your W, and you're like, holy shit, I just did 40% of their health, right? Like, just auto W. And then the rest of the shit goes through, and then you
or
auto
even
again. But
Sunderer. I went Sunderer into one of the tanks and it didn't feel horrible.
oh, one more thing I want to add is like a tip to, and Sunderer I thought was good too. One thing I do want to add is a tip to people that are gonna play Darius. Maybe if you hear this and you're like, yeah, that sounds fun. Um, I made it. I lost a couple of kills because I didn't ult,
Yes.
and I didn't ult because
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to kill them with the ult,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I should have because it would have given me an additional stack, and then they would have died. Because like, okay, so I had them at like 40%. They have 4 stacks or whatever. If I would have ulted, I would have dropped them down to like 15%, and they would have bled out on my tick damage from my passive, right?
Yes.
However, I didn't ult because I was waiting for the tick damage, and then yeah, like right at the end,
You
right?
want the power fantasy that
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You definitely do. And so like, and then I have a reset if something else happens, and I'm like, well, okay. So the reality is, if you've got enough stacks, just fucking chop them. Like, don't
oh,
bother.
4 is still something.
Oh, it's a
Like
lot. Like
yeah,
that's a
4 is
lot of damage. So I mean, don't make that mistake that I made, and I kind of started learning from that towards the end. But anyway, I thought it was really interesting.
His ult also has a channel time. Please understand that. I made that mistake too many times where I go up.
The ult flash thing kind of dramatically reduces it, by the way. Do not flash ult somebody, ult, and then flash onto them. Like, hit ult and you'll start running at them, and then flash, and you'll, like, it cuts half the animation out. They have no reaction
Okay.
time. It's really good. You know.
Again, I didn't know that. I'm not.
Or if you are ulting and they're gonna kill you while you're in your ult animation, you can flash out and you'll land with the chop and it'll still go through.
Okay.
And that
This
one's good too.
this was definitely a. I know, like I have 60,000 mastery on him. I understand how he works. I understand the basics. The big thing that frustrated me during this whole thing was I don't know these matchups that well.
Yeah, no,
And
I didn't know the matchups at all.
and
And
I
like
knew like
at
I knew
all.
the matchups with a different champion.
See,
Like
I went in blind as a dumbass. Like,
well, this is why this is good because you're going in blind as hell. I'm going in with like the top laner. Like I've faced Nars, I've faced Timos, I've faced Jaces, I've faced every ADC up there known to man.
yeah. Ugh.
ADC's top range top
Dude,
laners. Ugh.
like I don't even like I get
He
why.
understands.
No, I got it. Like I had to play against Vayne once and that was fucking miserable. Like I get it cuz it's like you automatically take harass and you do it in a way that makes it very difficult to ever like you just have to all in.
Yes.
And like with Darius it's very difficult because like the amount of mobility that they have put into the game has made Darius's kit feel
Old.
outdated. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And like cuz it used to be that if you got that pull off, you have that the fight is on, right? Like no matter what, we're fighting, right? There were very few champions that could get out of that. Now, not so much. Now it feels like God, I played against a Zeri top and an Action top and whatever. Like you just can't do anything to half of these champions because like with Action in particular, I had to have both summoner spells up or I didn't stand a chance of all like in an all
Yeah.
in.
He's a champion of a certain time.
Yeah.
I could see a I would say like an Ezreal kind of rework where you're just touching up on the a few of the abilities.
Yeah. So in that note, like I said, he does feel like I feel the age of his kit. You know what I mean? Like it just
Yes.
feels like a less coherent kit, even though at the time it was fully functional. And he's got a 50 something percent, 51, 52% win rate. So it's not like he's terrible. His kit does synergize well together, but it feels almost a little bit too pronounced the limitations, right?
Yes.
Because like I said, the movement is a big one, and with the amount, and that was a good limitation, but then they made everyone in the game have 100 dashes, and then they put Gale Force in for another one. You know, like I think if they were to change some of this shit to be like you can dash towards an enemy champion instead of anywhere, then that would probably solve a lot of these problems. But there's a lot of these champions don't have that limitation.
It's a what what would be a like a quick fix I think is if you're using it to go away from enemy champions, like have a longer cooldown or
Yeah,
have it cost something different or more.
yeah. And so, I thought I had to update his kit. Just this little quality of life change would be huge because they've done it in like every other champion that they have a reset on kill. If you get a kill within X seconds of using this ability, it resets.
Yes. That's fine.
That would be like, give me 2 seconds. So that way, if I tomahawk chop you and the damage does not show that you are fucking dead, and it, like one bleed tick takes, I don't lose my ult. You know what I
Because
mean?
that's your big power spike right there.
Yeah. Or make it like Cho'Gath, where I can see that this you are in fatal. You know what I mean? Like I don't have to guess.
See, that was a big point of discussion back when Cho got it. They're like, people argued against it because, well, now the bad Dariuses are caught up to the good Dariuses.
Yeah, I mean it's the same thing people argued about with jungle timers. Like that's not a completely arbitrary skill. You know, like, oh yeah, I hit a stopwatch and set my jungle timer so I knew when the dragon would be up, and then they put jungle timers into the game. It okay, but that's what separates the good junglers from the great ones, and it's like, why should that be what separates? You know, why should you not having ADD separate you from being a better jungler than me? You know,
This is true.
like
Uh,
that's stupid. It doesn't
if we're
relate to the
talking,
game.
if we're talking like little like quality of lives, have movement speed towards someone bleeding.
That would be too much. That would
No,
solve all of his problems.
but
That's the problem.
no, but very minuscule. Only if they're not stacked. If they're fully stacked, you get a little bit more. I'm not talking a lot. I'm talking very little, but it's only towards them.
I mean, I'm like, yeah, as a guy who just played a bunch of Darius, that would have been great, but then you're going to have to nerf the shit out of him elsewhere.
I mean, like, you take off
Yeah.
what? Maybe 5 to 10 AD off his passive at level 1.
Yeah.
He's still getting, what, 500 gold worth of stats
Mm.
off his passive. But it gives him what he needs more. I feel he doesn't need damage. He doesn't need more damage. He needs something to stick to a target.
Yeah.
Garen can stick to a target better than a Darius. He has a
I got it.
speed up.
Give him something that says when somebody uses a movement ability near him, then he increases in speed. That way, because those are the people that he is useless against, completely useless against. You know, anything like that would be more like, because if it's just he hits you with something and you run faster at him, he's a monster. Like, I don't think you can get around. Like, you can't have a kit that is that good and solve its only problem automatically. You know what I mean? Like, here's your
This is
free
true.
ghost. Like,
I'm not talking that
I
much.
understand. I'm just
I'm
saying.
literally talking like
I'm being dramatic.
1% at most.
Well, sure, I'm being dramatic, but
Yeah.
you know, like, yeah, I think you should be careful with. And movement speed is such a deadly stat anyway. So I don't know, but like I said, the ult reset thing, you probably wouldn't even have to nerf him. You know what I
Oh
mean?
no, the old result. No, you
That
don't.
would just
That's
be
fine.
like you just give him that, and I think everybody would be like, huh, all right. You know, or
Sure.
put the little indicator that's like, this person's gonna die if you tomahawk chop them right now.
If you press Alt Flash, here you go.
Yeah, like that would be cool. I'd be fine with that. Cho'Gath has it. There's no reason why. Like, there's so many. Pike has it.
Yep.
Like, that's just what they do with execute ultimates.
I don't know. It's a. I feel like Riot wants to be very, like, tiptoe around Darius, just because he's always been like a 51 to 52% win rate top laner forever. He's
And he's
always been
fairly
that.
popular.
And he is popular. He's not. It's not like no one wants to play him. It's the same thing with Vayne players. I feel it's you see something that's super fucking cool, and you want to try it out. You see someone get a 4 to 5 man dunk, and you're just like, I want to fucking try that shit. Or you
Yeah.
got dunked yourself.
Yeah, yeah. Like you see the Riven player go off and get a penta or whatever, and you're like, okay,
I could play Riven. Then you
I
try
can totally
Riven
do
and
that.
fail,
Yeah.
and then you go to Aatrox, and you're just like, it's the same thing.
Yeah, like
Well,
oh,
it's a lot easier.
this is way
It's
better.
it's super easier. I'm barely doing
Why did
anything.
I try that other shit? It was so hard. This is way easier. But no, like I think that like Darius, like all in all, is in a pretty good spot, but he's not as straightforward as he appears to be, especially in team fights. And
Yeah,
that's
team fights. It's weird.
like that was a kind of a learning curve for me because I was like, okay, because I went in thinking I'm a drain tank, and that's no, you're
No.
not. You're really not.
Mm-mm.
And I was disabused of that opinion like fast. Took me longer than it should have to realize how bad I was fucking that up. But like, it's he's just offense, and he will 1v1 virtually anybody, and then take that victory to the next. And so like a high note with me is I was being chased by a Mordekaiser and maybe a Fiora or something. I don't remember who the other person was. But it was my top lane opponent and a Mordekaiser jungle were ganking me. And like they went in on me and I beat the piss out of both of them and like in the initial exchange, right?
Yes.
And then I queued and was running away, right? And that gave me enough health to survive and I was like limping away. And this Mordekaiser kept chasing and kept chasing. The Fiora was like half-ass chasing, like wasn't really wholly committed to the idea.
Maybe I'll
Maybe,
go if he
well, if
gets
he's
it.
gonna get it, then I'll go or whatever. And so I dodged the Mord's E and hit him with my Q, right? And I get another heal. Meanwhile, I notice he's got 4 stacks. So I turn on him because the Fiora is like still a good amount behind, and I'm like, I'm gonna kill this dude, and then I'm gonna take my 5 stacks and throw it onto her, or maybe it was Gwen or something. I don't remember. No, it wasn't Fiora because I didn't ever play a Fiora. It had to have been Gwen. Then.
Oh, lucky you.
Yeah, I never played a Fiora.
Lucky you.
Fuck you! I played Akshan twice and Zeri.
I played against a Jace, Teemo, and Gnar. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, Jace and Teemo are rough. Gnar is not super fun either, but you can beat
They were
Gnar.
all Smurfs. They were all under level 40.
Because I wrote down every game I played what I played against. Let's see.
Oh, I
Garen,
can pull it. I have the
Garen, Aurelia, Yorick. Yeah, that was miserable, by the way. Yorick.
Oh yeah, Yorick is not a fun time.
Yeah. Let's see. Up here we go. Oh, that was another Cho game. All right.
Oh.
Akshan. That was absolutely horrible. Heimerdinger. I played into a goddamn Heimerdinger.
Okay, yeah, no, you got me. That's
fuck
that's
you.
Pain.
Don't even give me that
pain.
shit. Heimer. Ugh.
What I faced.
And then Zeri, Gangplank, Akshan again, Gwen, and I won the game against Gwen. It was Gwen with the 2v1 with the Mordekaiser. And then I won against the Gangplank. So I won games 9 and 10, by the way.
So
I set the bar high for Stove with the 2 out of 10 wins.
And I flubbed it today. But honestly, all right. I'll go through mine. I faced a Cho'Gath that was a jungler got ahead. Most of these games you're going to realize it didn't matter what happened top lane. Very little of what you do as a top laner matters on the overall impact of the game. You have to essentially not only win your lane, keep their lane away, and possibly help another lane.
Or draw all the jungle pressure.
Or pull a Darius and have all the jungle pressure, and your jungler does not know you exist. And forget to get dragons.
Dude, okay, so I had no idea. Like, everybody always says top lane is on an island.
Yeah.
That's actually bullshit. It's not. That is the lane that requires the most jungler intervention to do anything.
But you get ignored.
And you get ignored. And that's the problem. Like, and this is probably like, remember, I wanted to get out of support because I didn't want to be in a duo lane. Instead, I'm in a solo lane that's technically a secret duo lane, but the secret is that my jungler doesn't know it's a duo lane.
Nope.
Right? And so, like, there are things top lane, like mid, you have to worry far less about creep freezes and crap like that. It's really just a short mechanical duel because the lane is as long as my dick. Like,
Dang, that's a long ass lane.
yeah, thanks, buddy. I needed that after this Darius challenge. I like really. But I mean, like, the lane is like, yeah, here to here, right? But like top lane is like a donkey dick. It just goes on and on and on and has a curve to it.
Mm-hmm.
So like you have the potential to be frozen super hard top lane, just like bot lane, except in bot lane nobody knows how to freeze, and you have a support that can help you break a freeze if you need to. You know what I
But
mean?
you don't have that.
You don't have that top, so it's just all you. And if you get stuck out, you're fucked. Right? And like, you have no idea how many times I had to argue with junglers, and I'm like, hey, guys, I got ganked early, or I just fucked up in this one trade, and they didn't die with like 5 hit points. I'm gonna get zoned out of everything if you don't come break this freeze and help me set one. Right? Like, they're just gonna freeze right here.
Yep.
And I'm gonna be
Right.
fucked until that bounces
Pass
and they
river.
fucked up. Yeah,
Freeze pass river.
right. And I'm just gonna be fucked. Like I had one where they froze past river. All right, I died level 1, not level 1, level like 3 or whatever. I mean, I died early to a fight that resolved with them having like 5 hit points left, and then the last tick of my passive did not kill them with 5 hit points. Right?
Was that the one I saw you going crazy about?
Yes. That
Okay.
one pissed me right the fuck off. Because I'm like, oh, that guy's dead anyway. We're still even.
I just
And then
I
the guy
remember
didn't
watching.
die. And I'm like, how the fuck did he not die? And then
I remember watching, and I just like I had you muted, and I just see Papa going like,
like, motherfucker. So this dickhead survives on some shit he should not be surviving on. And I'm pretty heated about it. And I get back to lane, and as I arrive in lane where the waves have crashed in middle, right? I instantly get ganked by the jungler and die. From the bush. She was waiting on me to return to lane as like an Evelyn or some shit.
Yep, that.
And I'm
same
like,
shit. Same shit here, baby.
and so I die, and I'm like, hey, jungle, like, I died solo in some level 1, some early shit that I probably shouldn't have lost, but whatever. And then I got insta-ganked the second I got back. I need your help setting this wave, or else I'm going to get zoned out of this whole thing and be totally fucked. Like, can't do anything for the rest of the game, kind of fucked. And
No,
the guy's
fuck
like,
you. You're 1-3 or
yeah, why
0-3.
should I help the O2 dude? Fuck off, dude.
Mhm.
Not my fault. I'm not saying it's your fault. I'm asking you for help, you fucking dumb
So-
fuck.
This is something that a lot of people don't realize if they ever want to play top lane. By default, you're probably going to play weak side. You will 9 times out of 10 play weak side if you're playing top lane. It's understandable at basically every elo because dragon is more important most of the game. Most, if not all of the game, the dragon is more important. So, and there's more people down there. More opportunity for gold, more opportunity for a Drake. And there's more people easily accessible for a jungler, a mid lane, or bot lane.
Right, it's just like the pull of the resources, is the gravity of all that shit is too strong. And your jungler's going to be in that area. Because that's where all the shit is. And that's where all the kills are gonna be, and whatever. Like, yeah,
Top side, you get what? Three. You get 3 camps and your herald.
yeah. And I mean, for top lane to be an island is bullshit. It's not an island. There are too many visitors to that fucking island. It's like a carnival fucking cruise up there. Yeah, that's a port of call, not an island. Don't give me that bullshit. That
I.
anyway.
It's only an. I wish it was an island. I'd
Yeah,
much rather it be an island. But
you
no,
know how many of those games I just lost due to jungle intervention, and it's crazy. Like as a top lane, which you know, this is first real experience other than like norms and whatever, and you don't really give a shit about that. But like, this is the first time that I've ever realized how truly devastating an early jungle gank top is, because it gives you so much authority to just butt fuck the other person
a lead.
endlessly.
If yes, a good lead will just destroy that lane, and you don't get to play the game
Yeah,
anymore.
and it requires you to unfuck them. Like it's basically a time bomb sits up there, and someone else other than the laner has to come and like imagine it's a time bomb, but you're in the dark, and so you have the wires and you have the clippers in your hands. So your one hand's holding the wire, the other hand's holding the clipper, but you can't see which cord is which because it's pitch ass black, and you need a partner to come and shine a flashlight on it, but your partner never comes.
Yep.
And so you go, well, I'm gonna die, and then that's it. Or I go nowhere near that bomb and get no resources at all. Period.
You know what? The person who made the bomb, there's another person that's just switching wires on you.
Just like it's like one of those shell games, and there's like just a pile of
Yes.
wires under it. But I mean, fuck, man,
Uh,
that, like that's how it feels. And for me, and this is the difference in our experience. Like, you're trying to implement Darius into a champion pool with some experience on Darius and knowing the matchups from different points of view. For me, new matchups, it's a thing where wave like wave control matters more than virtually any other skill I've got.
yes.
I'm
I
having
still can't do that
I'm
well.
I'm having to solo lane, which is not a skill that I've actually built mechanically, right? Okay. Um, all of these things take so much of my attention that I'm losing shit that's like comfort skills for me, like warding and map awareness goes to absolute dog shit because I'm like hard focusing on executing the thing that's right in front of me. Right? And these are things I never had a problem with in support because my comfort level was high that I don't even have to think about it. Like I can just look at the map because I know when I can. And I don't have to focus on execution as much. Right? So I've gotten back to that stage of like conscious incompetence where I know I am bad at this shit, so I have to like zone in, you know. And so like it sounds like I'm doing a lot of complaining about this, but the one thing I'm going to say like in reflection is that I'm actually really glad they paid for this challenge. Because
Oh yeah.
like even though it was absolutely ass fuckingly miserable for those 10 games, like I learned a shit ton doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And I won the last two, even though my ratios were not that much better, but my contribution was. Right?
The this challenge, I'll even say, like, for myself, this challenge made me start looking at the games ahead, like review the games. What could I have done? What did I do? Or it's what did I do? What did I do bad? What did I do well? What did I do bad?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've never really put that much effort into it because I have to, like, I'm reading the synopsis. I'm like, okay, this is what happened. This is what I did. This is what I could have done. And this is how I could have changed the game, whether it be for the better.
Mm-hmm.
And two, it made me realize I'm a horrible laner. I'm not a great laner. It's very apparent now that, like, all the games two games I won was because I got out of lane and I started using every kind of way I know how to team fight, whether it be on like a set, an Ornn, any of the other top laners I know. A TP flank, good positioning. What do I need to do? Get people off, get people off here, flash in, grab them, something.
Yeah, you're just
It
grabbing people and getting them off.
yes.
I'm glad you're
I'm get
incorporating your skills.
yes, I'm getting my ADC off. Giving them their power fantasy.
Just grabbing them.
The support comes through.
Cups the balls.
You gotta jiggle them a little bit.
This is just whacking them around a little bit.
Like a clanger.
Rolling dice. Just,
Yep.
you know.
Also, it also made me like start incorporating all right, your game was a loss. Here, I fucked up. Cut it. Go to the next one. Do not carry your tilt from one game to the other because it's a bad snowball you don't want.
Yeah, the funny thing is, like, the tilt factor, I didn't really feel as much. So, like, I wrote this. I wrote this to Astros at one point, and I hope I wrote it down. I think I wrote it in the Twitch chat, which then it's gone forever. But yeah, fuck, I wrote it in Twitch chat. Well, no, maybe I wrote it in League. Haha. 1 second.
It may be in the VODs if you need it in Twitch chat.
I'm sure it's gonna be in the VODs, but Astros. There he is. Okay. So, he said, is the top challenge over or what? And I said, for me, yes. I did my 10. Stove still has to do 3 more. He says, no more depressed Smurf streams. And I said, LOL, I actually hated it, but it felt like I was learning. And he said, the dead look in your eyes was hard for even me to watch, and I love people suffering. I said, I think I'm going to keep playing top and normals. It's kind of fun to be completely ass at something versus trying to retool and de-rust a lane that I already know back and forward. You know, and he said he hates being bad, so he can't relate. And I said, it's a new and fresh and awful in a whole lot of painful ways, but there's a lure to that. And in the end, I'm probably going to get better at the game overall. So that, like, yeah, like, I got forced out of my comfort zone, and it caused me to be way less effective, and obviously I lost because of it. But, like, I recaptured some of that feeling of not knowing how
of wanting to improve.
Well, it's like not only that, but like look at it this way, man. Like, support is a solved role for me.
Yes.
Right? Like, other than like, okay, they released a new ADC. You know. But like I know
Great.
I'm sure. I know how like the lane is supposed to play out. I know when to engage. I know what a 2-person power spike is. I know when they're dead. I know when we're dead. Right? I know when to tuck and run. I know when to ward. I know when to throw a lantern for an engage or a lantern for an out. You know what I mean? Like, bot lane for me, in general, boils down to execution, right? But it's not about what I should do or why, as much as it's about, can I do this well in the moment, or am I going to make some sort of weird mechanical mistake or weird engagement mistake, or like, did I not account for the jungler, you know, or some shit like that, right?
Yes.
Like, it's universal game shit more than it is how to play the lane or how to play a matchup or what to blah blah blah, right? I feel like I'm playing a totally different experience, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I'm ass at it. And so it's like it's almost like you're mm, okay, got it. I played a shitload of Final Fantasy 11, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Final Fantasy 11, for those of you who actually played that game, was the epitome of a fucking grind, right? Like, people are like, World of Warcraft is hard. Like, no, it's fucking not. Final Fantasy 11 was fucking hard, right? Like, that game, if you died, you lost EXP, and you could lose levels if you died, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, that shit was rough. And the fights were not simple. Like, being good at the game mattered a shitload, and having a bad party could put you back hours. You know? So, like, it was a very difficult game. The party system in that game got, like, if you got a bad party and you got shut back a few hours of grinding, it felt miserable, right? And after a while, you're like, God damn, I just could use something else to do, right? And so they had like crafting skills that, I mean, were whatever, but like fishing in that game was actually kind of fun, right? Like the fishing mini game, even
You know,
though it
it's a good
wasn't,
game when they have a fishing minigame.
they have to, yeah, it's whatever.
All great games have a fishing minigame.
But I mean, that was something brainless that was like cool that you could do that's like scratches a progression itch
Mm-hmm.
and still like felt like you were moving forward even though you really kind of were standing still. Um, that's what top feels like. I feel like I'm playing the fishing mini game on support,
Mm-hmm.
whereas like I'm kind of taxed out on the whole support thing. I think this may be the season I just change lanes. I don't know if it'll be top, but I have enjoyed sucking this bad. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I think mid would be a better fit for me, or
Oh yeah.
jungle, you know, than top. But and I do like you said something interesting earlier at like with some certainty, like I know you believe it and you think it's a fact. I might disagree with you, right? But not as hard as would be appropriate given how strong your statement was.
Yes.
You said top does not matter, right? Like what happens
Yeah.
in top doesn't
And
really fucking matter. Elaborate on that for a second, and then I want
okay.
to.
So that statement I am very profound about is that I don't feel as an impact of the game relation to the other roles, you have the least impact on the role if you just play top lane. If you just win your lane. That's whereas if you win a mid lane, you have a lot more impact because you now opened up the map completely. If you opened up bot lane, you opened up that entire bot side of the map. You win top lane, you really still don't even crack open your side of the map. You crack open your lane. That's it. That's what I mean when I say that it's not, I don't feel top is important. Top is important, but it doesn't have the influence that something like a jungler has, a support has, and a mid laner have. I
Okay.
believe I believe ADC is right up. You good? You stubbed your toe, didn't you?
Ow! Fuck! Ah, I just got back from peeing. Ah, I just got back. Oh damn! I didn't even stub my toe. I like tripped on the fucking wheel of that. Ow! That
Oh
was
my
like
god.
right in the top of my foot too. I'm gonna have a bruise. Ah! God damn it!
So
It was like the fleshy spot right in between the bones on the top of your foot. Oof. Damn, I'm gonna look at that. I'm gonna make sure. That's gonna.
Rub some dirt in it. You'll be fine.
There's no hole. Oh, actually, there is. Ow. Okay.
There's a hole in your foot now?
Well, there's some skin, but definitely gonna be a deep ass fucking bruise. Ouch. Oh man, my hobbit foot has seen better days. Fuck here. I don't know if you can even see this shit or not, but.
Oh, for audio listeners, he's about to. Oh yeah, we got a crotch shot of Wise Papa Smurf.
Right,
oh
right
yeah.
There.
Mm.
That nice little red bruisey looking. Take in my hobbit feet, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh man.
Fuck.
This is really for the Patreon.
Dude. Yeah, we're gonna get tons of donations from all the foot fetish, hairy old man foot fetish people.
You don't want that.
You gotta check out
Please
the
don't
podcast.
manifest that in my life right now.
$50 for stove feet pics. I'm like, yeah, do it.
All right, I'll get a pedicure for you.
Oh fuck, man, that actually hurts like a bitch. Still, it is like throbbing. Okay, I have completely lost our train of thought here. Top lane sucks and doesn't matter. Okay.
All right. I'm not saying it doesn't matter. All right. I definitely worded that wrong. It's not that it doesn't matter. It's the least influential of the overall game. Compared to what other roles can do.
Okay, I agree.
That is the biggest thing
I agree with that premise. And the reason I agree is like it is harder for a top laner to expand their lead than it is for anyone else. And by that I mean this. You can make your enemy top laner totally fucking useless, right? Like you can snowball ahead, you can put lane pressure out, never get ganked, and freeze your lane and do all the shit you're supposed to do, right? You can do all that and become an absolute monstrous god. But you're stuck where you are if you're doing that perpetually. Right? And you're not roaming anywhere, and you can't leave a lane that long for that long. Right? And you're too far away from being able to impact really anybody else. Like, I had a hell of a time trying to gank mid. Right? Yeah. Like, the easiest thing for you to do is whenever you're zoned out, go invade their jungle.
Yes.
And that's about the most impact you're going to have.
It's what it feels like is like mid lane just has to win their lane. Bot lane just has to win their lane. Jungle just has to be a pressure. Like just pressure everywhere. Or at least feel like there's pressure from him. Top lane, it feels like you have to not only win your lane, you have to impact another lane.
Now, see, I will say this, though. Like, this is also coming from, in my opinion, being Darius. And I think Darius actually has an even harder time due to the inherent limitations of the champion's kit at extending his lead onto the rest of the game. Whereas if somebody like Aurelia goes 4-0, right, you can destroy the whole game easily because you have hyper mobility.
Or a tank can definitely steamroll a whole game because they have so much. Like a tank Malphite is going to be worth it because he has such a high impact ult. And Ornn can easily, like, his ult is the whole lane, the size of the whole lane, and can knock up so many people. Yeah.
Well, and I mean, so like, I just want to say in context
of Darius,
right? Yes. And so like your max value is kind of a split push, right? Because he's an insanely good split pusher, right? Like as not as good as like a Tryndamere, but like because Tryndamere he doesn't have escapes is the problem.
Yes.
Just you can brawl with anybody that shows up, but it's not going to be just one person that shows up.
Or like Alawi.
Yeah, all right, like an Alawi. So it's like even if you get way ahead, it's hard to extend that lane lead into something that it's just more
Means
difficult.
something on the game.
Yeah, it's just more difficult in general. So like I get where you are coming from in the context of that. God damn, my foot still hurts. Anyway, so I get where you're coming from on that. I really do. But like, and I am not 100% like my agreement with you comes from it definitely feels like that, but I'm also not convinced that I'm just not doing something wrong. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Like
Yes.
that's my reservation is like I am willing to accept that I am not only probably doing something wrong, but like absolutely likely am doing something wrong. Due to
How can I put it?
inexperience because I don't have
Your
confidence in that.
like yeah, if your mistakes cost more as a top laner for the fact that like you've messed up a wave, they can freeze and you can't CS for however long they hold that freeze. You get a early gank on yourself and the enemy laner sets themselves up to just essentially step in front of a wave and deny you farm and an EXP. There's your mistake costs you any kind of like playing potential you can have.
Right. No, I agree with that. But I mean, like, whenever we're talking about impactful roles, right? I would say mid is probably jungle is the most, then
Yes.
mid, then support,
Support.
then ADC, then top,
Yes.
right? Which is weird because I could theoretically the last two, ADC and top, are the only two that I would consider for that bottom slot, right? And I think it's also interchangeable depending on champion matchup. Because if I'm talking about Darius, top is probably on the bottom. But if I'm talking about Aurelia, then I would put top as
A good Riven.
I'd put top as way more impactful, right? Um, because you can translate that easier. So I think it depends on how well you team fight. But ADC's amount of influence is literally only gated by two factors. If their support sucks and their mechanical skill ceiling.
Yep.
Like those are the limitations to ADC and mechanical skill ceiling is more important of those two things. Right? Don't get me wrong, it sucks to play with a bad support. I know. I fucking know. That's
We know.
why I started playing support. Is because when I started the game, I was an ADC, and I was like, I will be goddamned if I play with another support that doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. Here, give me that. I'll just fucking do it.
Fine, I'll
Like,
do it myself.
like this is what started me down that path. However many years ago, is fine. I'll just fucking do it myself, and that was what I did. You know, so I get it. But if you are a mechanical god, you'll be fine. With ADC, you can always be impactful.
Yep.
So, but I don't think that's necessarily true in top because it's a lane that is super punishing and requires jungle intervention that you're not going to get.
Nope.
So, good luck, friends. Well, anyway, our Patreon shout out this week goes to RCC because hell, he earned it, right?
He did earn it.
Yeah. So I mean, I hope that we had mentioned that we could use some money, and this is the first month that we've actually had a meaningful amount of money come into the podcast, and that's great. And I also paid for our shit out of it. Oh, I also need to pay the audio editor. I'm gonna do that now while I'm
Yeah, go
thinking
do that.
about it. That dude has been very helpful.
But
But
this was a very welcome thing. And you know what? I am very happy that he split it so we can both have
yeah, actually, I'll tell you what. I would like to do it. I mean, obviously, if you're gonna pay for it, you can tell us what to do. I guess that's fine.
exactly. We're
But
sluts like that. Thank you.
I mean, if you could do it this way, this is, I think, the coolest way to do it because it also enables us to make content and talk about it. That's not just a like one-way bitch fest, you know.
We got to bitch from 2 different perspectives.
All right,
How
so
it feels.
I just paid Sam, our audio editor, $80, and I'm gonna add a note that says January, December. Thanks.
All right. Actually,
Sent.
no. You know what? All right. I got one. Can I just put one bitch fest for
Yeah, go
this?
ahead.
Because
Bitch away.
there was one game that just sent me to the fucking moon. We were fucking storm rolling the entire fucking game. Bot lane was fine. I was fine. I denied their jungle. Their jungle came to get me, and I still fucked them up. We had Soul coming up in 18 seconds. The map was darker than it was at the start of the game. When everyone spawned in, it was as dark as that map for the enemy team. What happens? The ADC backs because he's like, I have IE. I'm like, we have 18 seconds to Soul. Just fucking wait. What happens? We get wiped. We go to Baron. He gets caught out. We lose the game.
So you want to hear something funny? I just paid that out of my bank account instead of the
The
podcast money.
the
And that's because even though he donated to us, it will not appear in the podcast money until February. So fuck.
Oh well.
Oh well. It's fine.
You got the money. The money's coming in.
I get it back later, I guess. But
Yes.
yeah, I mean, we were pretty much ass broke, is why it's coming out of my bank account. Because podcast has like we were meeting the like recurring payments. Like I had to pay $40 for the podcast hosting and for the website and for some other shit. But like, we were not.
I'm looking at this game.
I have no
I'm
discretionaries right now.
gonna click off of it. I'm gonna click off of it so I don't stay salty.
Dude, like I said, there were so many games. Whenever I had that one jungler who like just refused to do anything, it's like spent the whole game pinging me like a dickhead.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Or there was the game I faced a Fiora and it was like I was like I was 1-2 and she was 2-1. I'm like, all right, let me like just stay at tower and kind of farm, keep the freeze. I look, 14 minutes in, our inhibitor's gone. I'm like, oh well, there goes that game. I was just like, how? Like that's something like that was a loss. That's
oh yeah.
that's a guaranteed loss.
By the way, that game that I got butt fucked by my own jungler where he wouldn't come, that was game 2. You know what's the worst about this challenge? If I have one thing that I'm gonna bitch about, is like whenever I'm supposed to play Darius top and they ban Darius, and it's like now I'm forced to just play top, and I'm not a top laner, so it's like, oh god, I had 2 games of like Cho'Gath top where I still lost, even though one game I was like 8-1 or something, and we still lost. I don't know.
I mean, the one game we had Darius ban, I got to play Ornn and I won.
Yeah. God
I got
damn.
or I played mid. I played Annie mid because I was just they forced me on the mid because of autofill.
Yeah, that's a deep ass bruise. That's what that is.
Oh boy.
Dude, it's like actually throbbing. I'm like looking around for pain.
Go get
meds.
some ice. Let's.
Dude, this like I bet it looks real bad by now. It was like a line before of like purple, which had just fucking happened, and it's a line of purple. That's bad. But like, fuck. So like, and the worst part is, I just got over a bruise. Like, okay, I decided that I was gonna build a golf simulator in my garage, right? So I built like a cage that has like netting and shit. Like I DIY'd this shit for real cheap and built it myself, right? And I bought this cheap ass Chinese projector that was like $70 to like project the thing so you can hit and then it goes into the screen and then you see the ball go or whatever like that. The problem is the brain is of the thing is a Garmin R10, and those things have been on back order for like 100 years. And I would have just paid the scalper if I had known 6 months ago that it would still be on back order, because I could have paid like hell if you would have asked me, Blake, would you rent one for $20 a month? I would say, oh yeah, sure, no problem. That's what I would have paid the scalper. You know, $20 a month, knowing that it was 6 months down the road.
Yeah.
You know. Anyway, doesn't fucking matter. But so I built this fucking thing, this huge ass cage, and it's awesome. You can hit balls into it. It looks good. I'm really proud of myself.
Takes a lot of balls.
It takes a lot of balls. Takes a lot of brains. It takes a lot of kushpa. It's from Futurama, by the way.
Yes.
The episode where they fought the brain balls.
Yes.
So
yes, I
many good
remember.
lines in that. The key to war is the element of surprise.
Surprise.
Surprise!
Surprise!
He dumps them all off the planet. Anyway.
Oh.
Oh, God. Okay, so I'm standing up on this stool, right? And it's a
Mhm.
super old stool that's been in my family for like 30 years. It's like a bar stool. And it's got like 2 pieces of wood that go like this, and then the seat
Yeah.
is like this, and then 2 more pieces of wood that go like that. So it's shaped like that, right? So like, give me the like rock on symbol where you hold up
Bull
your
horns?
pinky. Yeah, the bull horns. Where you hold up your pinky
There you
and you
go.
hold up your index finger, and then put your like wrists
Spider-Man it.
together and Spider-Man that shit. And that's kind of what the seat looks like, and it goes out, right? So like, I'm standing on this fucking thing doing something with the projector, and the thing wobbles, right? And I'm like, oh shit, I need to jump off this stool or I'm going to fall and it's going to hurt, right? Because the last thing I want to do is like go, "Ah!" and then land on a stool and be paralyzed or whatever, right? So I'm trying to like jump straight up and then also land like just up
Out.
and then land down into the side, right? But as I jump straight up to try to land on the side, the stool goes like this and goes
Okay,
back to like
the,
this.
The way you pose when you're like, I'm gonna jump up, it was like one of those like 80s movies freeze frame at the end of the movie.
Yeah. Well, I was going for like Mario Brother going for a block.
Yeah, but the way
Yeah.
it just froze, I'm
Yeah.
like, it's just like
No.
we saved the day at the school. Yeah.
Yeah. Like. Anyway.
I can't get down. Please help me. Who do I call?
So anyway, I like try to jump up and then land a foot to the right, but my foot to the right just causes the stool to rock. So I end up jumping up and coming straight back down on the stool. Just wham, right on the stool. It goes right in between my thighs. And like the parts that stick out, the wood smashes into my leg, and I have this like burning hot pain, right?
In my crotch.
Well, and I don't even really want to look at it. It just hurts. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Oh, I fucked that up. Ow, ow, ow. And, you know, anyway, so like it hurts when I sit down, and I'm like, man, I really fucked myself up on this deal. Like that was a bad call, right? And it's like, oh, well, I'm fine. And I go up to my wife, and, you know, I've got like boxers on, and I'm standing from behind. I go, because I thought I landed like right on the back of my thigh, like right there,
Yeah.
right? And so I go up to my wife, and I'm like, hey, do I have a bruise right here, right? Like right on the back of my leg right there. And she looks at it, and she goes, like, a little one? And I go, okay. I was like, well, maybe it's just deep or something. I don't know. That's weird. And so, like, the other day, like, a day later, I got out of the shower, and I sit down, like, you know, kind of man spread all over my bathroom, right? And put on deodorant or whatever, and I drop it. And then I look down, because it's, like, right in between my legs, right? There's a bruise on my inner thigh this fucking big. Like a Nerf football. Like it is huge as fuck. And I like looked at it and I'm like, holy shit! I was like, Kels, are you blind? How did you not see this? And then she's like, oh my god. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And she's like, you couldn't see it from behind at all. And so like I stood and I took like a butt crack picture just to see what like if
For the
she's just
OnlyFans, baby.
yeah for the people who didn't like the feet pics. So like you got to cover all your fetishes, right? So
Exactly.
anyway, I like took a picture from behind. I'm like, yeah, there was like that much bruise showing, and she just thought I was a huge pussy because I was complaining about it. But in fact, it's like one of the biggest, nastiest bruises, and like right now it's fading. And on the other side, it was where she could see, and it was also like kind of inside thigh,
Yeah.
but it wasn't that bad. But holy shit, like nuts. Good night, everybody! I just literally abruptly ended with that.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was perfect.
It's,
That's
the,
how we're
that's the
that's how we're
the
doing
Lola
it.
classic. Oh my god, dude, my melatonin's kicking in, baby.
You
Oh, I'm
took
tired.
melatonin at like 6 p.m. How old are you?
I gotta wake up at 4 in the morning.
Oh yeah.
So
Piece of
guess
advice.
whose
Just go
ass is
ahead
going
and
to bed.
at 4 in the morning and just smash your foot on something.
No, I'll just drink coffee. I hate that shit. Dirty fucking bean water.
Coffee's the best.
Gross.
Let's see. Share
Actually,
link.
what do I got? I got G Fuel. I could drink that.
G Fuel. I have some of that shit floating around somewhere. I used a bunch of it once.
It's not bad. I enjoy it. I got the
I mean,
Sonic flavor and the Doom flavor.
Acer Ricola, I did land on my feet and my thighs. So I'm part cat
You poor cat.
and nimbly bimbly.
Just chuck a cat and we're like, oh,
Ah,
just
fuck. That fucking hurt though. Like seriously. Dude, catch your whole fucking body weight with your thighs on a
it
piece of
looks.
fat, flat wood. It's just like, ugh. Like you ever like when you were a kid, you ever do the splits like on a dare? Like somebody's like, I
I
can
did
do
the
the
splits on
splits,
baseball.
and then you're like, oh, and then you go down, you're like, oh god, like that.
Yeah, yeah. I played first baseman in baseball, and one time I went for a ball that was way too far out. I just did a full split. Thankfully, it was the third out. I'm like, I keep the glove up. Guy calls the out, and everyone's running back. I'm just still doing the split. My coach is just like, Holden, you okay? So like, yeah, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Hold on.
All right,
Oh,
well, that'll wrap for the day, I think.
oh my god. I could play normal League of Legends.
Thanks for coming, stream. I'm like, and Stove's like,
Nah, vape niche, bro.